Hello, everyone in Viewerland. Welcome to the Manic Monday edition of The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
No. My name is Mike Pewarski. I am the co-host on today's program here on the Rundown, 2A Views and Conservative News, coming to you from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most. And I'm also noticing as I sit here, Craig, I'm having some sort of a lighting problem. I've got this big shadow thing going on my nose today. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's the shirt. Is it because it's too bright for a Monday in here? Too cheery?
Not really, because you are in sunny Florida. You are in the Sunshine State. So, therefore, it is okay to be bright.
I mean, it is over 80 outside already this afternoon. So we've had unseasonably warm weather. They've called it, I think, what's today? What do we got? The 13th now. They said it's over 10 days, over 80 degrees so far.
So in other words, global warming.
Today would be the 11th. Well, listen, just like 3 years ago, we had the coldest weather ever. So they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Do you remember?
That's why they switched the term to climate change. That way, whether it's oddly cold or oddly hot,
all fits. Do you remember when we were kids in school, about the time we were learning about the metric system, that they were talking about the next ice age? Remember, the next ice age was coming,
right? And
we all had to be ready for the next ice age. I think that's why half my family moved to Florida, by the way, because they wanted to escape the coming ice age. But it's I remember it clear as day. And I know you can Google it and look it up. It's from the 70s. It's not like it's that long ago.
Global cooling was a thing, or at least the conversation about it was a thing. We're kind
of wasn't global cooling. It was an ice age. It was an ice age. Yeah.
Right. We're experiencing a little bit of a cooling here, and it's weird. We have a high of like mid 40s, a low in the 30s, and it's rainy all day, which I can handle the cold and I can handle the rain. But when you get both of them together,
right.
Not fun. I mean, it's not even, but the problem is it doesn't quite get cold enough for it to be snow.
Yeah. It's like you're cheated. Like, come on, if we're going to do this, let's do it.
Right. If it's going to be cold enough to snow, it should just snow so that at least we can enjoy that during the Christmas season.
Right. Well, maybe you'll get lucky and have some ice,
Just some ice. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So it rains at night, right? And then it gets cold, and so then you go outside and there's just this frozen ice on your window.
That's it. Good stuff. It makes
I'm glad I tell you what, it makes me happy I don't have to commute.
Right? There you go.
But anyway, so hey, interesting things, a lot of news stories. Man, folks, you have no idea how many stories we went through and we had to kind of put to the side in order to whittle it down to just 5 stories for today. But I think we got some good ones. What do you think, Mike?
We got some good ones for the next couple days. Like you said, we had plenty of stories this weekend pop up. So as long as nothing world shattering happens tonight or tomorrow morning, we'll bring you some of this weekend's
exactly
stories tomorrow afternoon.
Let's get to our first story. Now, this is one, if you guys have been following the media at all, right? If you've been following the media at all, relating to whether it was the protests that took place in 2020 and they referred to them as mostly peaceful. Well, now there's this new phenomenon that's taking place, where as in particular in the San Francisco Bay Area, where news crews are going out and they are trying to cover a lot of these robberies that are taking place. The flash mobs that are robbing stores in San Francisco and in Oakland and places like that. Well, one of the other things that's starting to happen is these news crews are actually starting to get robbed. In the last couple of weeks, there have been 3 incidences, right, of news crews in the San Francisco Bay Area being robbed at gunpoint. Now, mind you, in only one case has someone actually gotten shot, and he fatally died. He was a former or retired police officer, and which, by the way, is interesting because they don't refer to him. They refer to him in the story as a security guard, but they don't refer to him as once again as a former law enforcement officer. But my point here in this story is that these robberies are taking place, and they're taking place all over the place. But The media should be reporting them as mostly peaceful, seeing as how really so far only one person has been shot, although all of them have involved robbery at gunpoint.
Yeah, I mean, let's do the math here, Craig. If we've got 100 robberies in the past week, and only one person, this retired police officer, was shot and killed, and the other two were robbed at gunpoint and had camera equipment and other personal belongings taken from them. That's only 3%. Only 3% of the robberies that have occurred have actually had contact with the victims. The other, they just take what they want and they go. So, I mean, it's mostly peaceful, right? If you do the odds the way they do it, it's just one retired cop's death, right? It's not a big deal according to them.
Right, according to them. In the end, though, it's a very. I mean, I'm sure you and I agree. It's a very big deal,
It's
and
huge.
it's frustrating that it takes them actually being the victims of crime for them to say, there might be a crime problem.
No, there's no crime problem. They're allowing crime to occur based on the laws that they've passed at the city, county, and state level. This is
Yep.
exactly what they've done. They've taken funding away from law enforcement. They've reduced the laws. They've gotten rid of the bails or the bond. It's no problem at all. This is exactly what was predicted to happen is happening. I don't know how they can have an issue with it at all.
Funny how that works, huh? Funny how that works. You stop enforcing the law, or you decriminalize crime, and all of a sudden crime goes up.
Yeah. Strange. Whoever would have predicted that? Yeah.
Everybody. But hey,
Yeah.
you know what?
Right.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's their fault. Or at least, let me clarify. There are people who are arguing that don't think it's their fault. I was trying to be somewhat sarcastic. But there are
Right.
actually people who are blaming the victims. And Mike, we know one of those people who is in fact blaming the victims. And that would be our good friend, the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot.
I thought we had to say her name 3 times before we saw her picture.
Well, okay, so in this particular case, though, it's her picture is the one heading the story, so you kind of got to be there. But she is actually blaming store owners,
Yes,
for the crime that is taking place at their particular businesses. Here, I'll scroll down here to where her quote is. All right, here it is. She said, "I'm disappointed they're not doing more." Right?
Right.
She's talking about the local businesses. She's talking about doing more to take safety and make it a priority. For example, we still have retailers who won't institute plans like having security officers in their stores, making sure that they have cameras that are operational.
Yeah, you don't happen to see the gift below that, do you?
I know, I did see that. I was like, okay. But I'm like, Mike, now, what is a security guard supposed to do?
He's supposed to say, "Stop," or I'll yell, "Stop" again.
Well, especially since they allow stores, if the person should happen to try and apprehend them or stop them, they're gonna wind up getting sued.
Yeah, security guards are not there, and I don't care what state you go to. Security guards, one of their responsibilities is not to put hands on the bad guy. A security officer is there to help deter crime via the fact that he's a trained observer, and that if a bad guy were to come in, he would be able to give the best testimony compared to everyone else. They are the trained observers, and they are there as a deterrent because they are able to report the crime better than others would be able to, because he is a trained
But Mike,
observer.
what good does that do when their chances are they're not going to prosecute anyway?
Oh, it's done. It's exactly right. It negates the purpose for them being there. Everything that they've done, everything that old Mayor Lightfoot there has done, and the laws put in place in the state of Illinois, what she's reiterated in the city there in Chicago, is just allowed this crime to run rampant, and now we are victim blaming. Well, they didn't put up enough bars on their windows to protect, and they didn't have state of the art intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance aircraft overhead viewing the entire scene as well. And I did not see any armored personnel carriers outside to help protect, so it's the victim's fault.
Well, but Mike, and then on top of it, she goes on to say, well, Why aren't they putting this stuff behind glass or locking it up? Now, mind you, these are the same people who claim that it's racist when you do that, right? They claim it's racist when you put the stuff someplace where it can't just be grabbed. But if you have it out, now all of a sudden they're blaming you for allowing yourself to get robbed. It is beyond me. It's this is the reason why Lori Lightfoot is the reason why we have the issues that we have. Mayors like her, politicians like Lori Lightfoot. Oh, there she is. Ugh.
Say it 3 times. She pops up.
Yes. Yeah. For those of you who are new to the program, yeah, that's kind of a thing. Yeah, if you say her name 3 times, kind of like Beetlejuice, she pops up into the program, looking at us disapprovingly. Uh, um. Anyway.
I think she is Beetlejuice. I'm pretty sure she is Beetlejuice.
Anyway, yeah. Do us a favor, lady. Just go. You don't have to go. You don't have to go home. You just have to go. Thank you. Okay, she's gone.
It's amazing. You're right, because she did say that if you put items behind glass, that's racist. And then she says, "Why aren't they putting items behind glass?" And it's really the reason, Craig, is because she's not smart at all. I mean,
she's not smart.
You ever listen to her talk? And literally, the reason she's the mayor is because she's black and she's gay. It was, after Rahm Emanuel handed it off, it was like, okay, I'm black and ignorant. Now we need black, ignorant, and gay. We need to add something else to it for her to get elected, which makes me fear for the next mayor or the rest of the people of Chicago, because we've got black, gay, and ignorant. Not that ignorant has anything to do with the other two. I'm just saying,
there you go.
They're
okay.
trying to
Good clarification.
They're trying to check blocks off, is what they're trying to say. So now she's going to have to be a Native American, also. I think the next mayor,
right?
So
non-binary.
Non-binary. Yeah, there you go. That's what they're going to.
And left-handed.
Ooh, wow. Let's not get crazy. I mean, that's just.
We can't be electing left-handed people.
No. You got to draw the line.
We got to draw a line somewhere. We got to have some standard.
Yeah, left-handed people. That's ridiculous.
Oh, but hey, you know what? I can't talk because out here we have Gavin Mussolini as our governor, and with him as our governor, now there's a new story out, and you guys may have heard this. He is now talking about modeling some gun laws in California after the Texas abortion law. Well, the Supreme Court has basically said that they're going to let the heart, I think it's called the heartbeat law, stand in Texas. They can challenge it, but they're not going to do an injunction to keep it from being or to prevent it from being enforced. So what Newsom has said is, I'm going to write law. I'm going to sponsor legislation and work with legislators in order to create legislation that would mirror the Texas abortion law. Now, Mike, there's a fundamental problem with this, and you and I talked a little bit about it. So I'll let you kind of share the details on what we talked about.
Yeah, let me give you a little more history on this Texas law as well, just so you're clear. The Texas law did not go and violate Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade is there. It's still illegal. To ban it 100%. You can't do that. That's a 1973 case, if I recall. And here's what Texas did. Texas put a little bitty anomaly into the law here that says, listen, we have abortion here, but we're going to allow the citizens of our state, remember I said the citizens here, to sue anybody involved in the abortion process if the abortion occurs within 14 weeks of the fetal heartbeat being detected, or 14 weeks after the fetal heartbeat is detected. That's my correction. So after the child, the conception is over 14 weeks, if an abortion were to occur, any individual can sue anybody involved in the abortion process, the doctor, the hospital, I guess a judge, a parent, and anyone else who happened to be involved in it. So if they're still in desire for an abortion, they can still have abortion up to 14 weeks. Anything after that, individuals are allowed to legally sue anyone involved in the process for doing the abortion past 14 weeks. Craig, was that clear enough? Did I make that clear enough?
Yes, it was. It is definitely clear enough. Now, mind you, there is no law no federal law, no state law preventing an individual from being able to sue someone involved in abortion. So there is no
Right.
federal law
Correct.
to whether it comes to doctors or providers or anything like that. There's no federal law preventing someone from being able to sue. That
Correct.
is
And that's how
important
this
to understand
that's
in
how
this
this right.
discussion.
That's the next step in this, because Gavin Newsom has said, well, if individuals can sue the providers or anybody involved in this, then that's what we'll do with guns. We'll say that anyone in California can sue a gun maker, gun dealer, gun manufacturer for a firearm that's involved around a firearm that's involved in a crime. So anybody that's around the firearm, whether manufacturer, dealer, possessor, whatever it happens to be, they could be sued. The problem is, Craig, and go ahead, you just alluded to it. I'll let you take it.
Yes, we do have federal legislation in place that actually prohibits people from being able to sue firearms manufacturers or firearms retailers uh, unless their product is defective or they've lied or they've done. If someone takes their product and uses it and violates or breaks the law with it, uh, as long as they didn't break the law in selling it to them, then they cannot be sued. Which, by the way, just kind of exposes Gavin Newsom's ignorance of the law once again. Not that I think he cares about being ignorant of the law, but I think it just goes to show that he talks without thinking. He doesn't necessarily have all the facts or need to know the facts in order to talk, especially when it gets him front page headlines.
Yeah. Yeah, again, we're talking about the Protection and Lawful Commerce of Arms Act. And I always stumble on that one, so make sure I get that one out right.
I was going to say it, but I always miss some of the words in the name.
Right.
Of it.
So do I. I know it's placa. And I have to do that in my brain. So this exists, and he's dealt with it before. So for him to say things like, "Well, we now have a solution," and not remember that he got beat by this last month. It's just because that's when the case was filed. The Nevada case, recall, they filed in Nevada and California, and now the Nevada one got dropped because of placa and a state level law for placa, and then they tried to file in California, and that one's currently working its way through the courts right now before it gets dismissed because of placa. So it's going to happen. Yeah, he's an idiot. He's another one. He's a moron. But the one thing I do know about him, Greg, he's not left-handed.
He's not left-handed, therefore he is still qualified to be gov. Okay.
Yep. Let's not get crazy now. He's not left-handed.
Let's not get crazy. So talk about getting crazy. So what, Mike? Why don't you start with the story that you shared about the myth of child sex trafficking?
Wait, well, hold on. I want to be sure that everybody oh man, he is left-handed actually. Newsom is he's left-handed.
Therein explains the problem with his leadership.
That explains it. Okay, that explains it. That's it. It's like, wow, I should probably verify that story before I spread it.
Well, he's a straight white male, so that's how he claims his victimhood, I guess, is being left-handed.
Well, there you go. I have been oppressed by 90% of white people my whole life. I am left-handed. Well, that would be right. I mean, that math would work out, but let's see. There's a story that popped on CNN this weekend, and I'm like, let's take a look at this one here. It says that CNN says they call it the myth of child sex trafficking. The myth of child sex trafficking. And I'm like, wait a second, that doesn't seem right. We've noticed over the past 5 years, maybe 6, shortly before President Trump took office, the story of child sex trafficking had come out, and a lot of it was from what we saw coming from over the border to the south. There would be these children coming across with coyotes, most of them without their parents, and nobody ever knew where they went, right? But here, and again, this is focused on what you see it right now. The story
it was from the Atlantic.
Yeah, the Atlantic, and then CNN follows up on it. Yeah, CNN follows up on it. But they call it the fake child sex trafficking. Now, this sounds like, when you read the story, it sounds like everybody telling you a lie, right? What they do is they spend the first 75% of the story. It's not a short story either. This is a 10-pager. The first 75% about how it might be true and how it could be true. And then the last couple of pages, it tells you how, well, the Republicans are lying about this because they're trying to make the Democrats look bad. And it's really the Republicans that are allowing it because they want the Democrats to look bad. So because the Republicans are allowing sex trafficking to occur to make the Democrats look bad, it's really the Republicans that are wrong here, rather than all of the left side that keeps getting caught and convicted of being with children.
You mean like the producer for Chris Cuomo, Chris Cuomo's
It's amazing
show?
because as soon as the Atlantic posted that article, within 24 hours, this popped. And listen, they're calling it just some producer, right? This guy was Cuomo's right hand guy for, was it 8 or 9 years?
Yeah.
Literally, I mean, he was the guy in his ear. If you ever watched any of the TV shows where producers are on, and I'm dating myself, I'm thinking of the old Larry Sanders show, Gary Shandling show, with Rip Torn in his ear the whole time. That's it. This is the guy. This is the producer in his ear. This, how about 30 Rock? Okay. This is Tina Fey in Alec Baldwin's ear. All right. This is Aaron Tracy Morgan's ear. This is the guy that's in the star's ear the whole time for 9 years. Then sets up all their engagements, sets up, all their activities. This is his number one. This is his right hand. And boom, this guy's going to jail, not for attempting to lure underage girls to his ski house for proper sexual training, but for it actually occurring. For it actually occurring multiple times. He flies them in from out of state, pays for their tickets to come in from out of town, even convinces some of their mothers to bring them so they can do this together. This is his right-hand man.
Mike, I am just like, there are very, very few. I don't agree with QAnon on anything, but all of a sudden, this whole like left-wing child sex trafficking thing is, I mean, between this guy and Epstein, it's starting to take shape.
Well, and Epstein's number one right hand, Maxwell, she's on trial right now. But How much have you seen that in the news?
And no one's talking about the fact about once again about the fact here's a guy who once again pushing the liberal agenda. You got Epstein, who is a big time. It's amazing how many photos how they keep using the same exact photo of Epstein and Donald Trump, who I believe in the photo aren't even really they're near each other, not even really looking at or talking to each other. But they completely ignore the fact that he's one of the Clintons' biggest donors, that he's one of the largest donors to the Democratic Party and to Democrat causes and candidates out there. Completely ignore it.
When Donald Trump got wind of what was going on, long before he said he had any interest in, well, I'm sorry, he said 30 years ago he wanted, on an Oprah show that he would be president. Right. But let's say 10 years ago, before there was any interest in him actually running for president for real, he got wind of what this guy was about. Now, there's pictures of him with him 10, 12, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So about 10 years ago, Trump gets wind of what's going on and refuses any of his donations and any of his charitable organizations and bans him from all Trump properties worldwide. Okay?
Right.
That's what President Trump did.
You don't hear that in the mainstream media.
No. That's what President Trump did. Before he was President Trump. Back when he was just billionaire Trump.
And by the way, that's while he was still donating to the Clintons. And to the Democratic Party.
Absolutely. And that's when Trump said, we will no longer accept your funds and you're no longer welcome on our properties. You prevert is what he called them, I think.
Right. Well, and once again, keep in mind, these are the same party that defend folks like the professor that was talking about, what is it? It was promoting, what was the term they called? It was promoting, relationships with children.
Yes.
We talked about that one. It's just, but it's, once again, this is something that I will at least give CNN some credit on this one. Is they at least did report on the fact that their producer got is under arrest for multiple instances. By the way,
yes.
Well, there you go. There's CNN and child sex trafficking. So you got the Atlantic saying it doesn't happen, and the same day CNN announces. One of our guys, he got caught doing that.
Yeah, he got Yeah, he got caught. I mean, he just got. And again, this wasn't no alleged. This was.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, this happened. Yeah, it happened
So
multiple
anyway,
times.
I
As
I'm
women,
looking forward to justice
girls as
being
young as
done. I
13
want to see
years
this guy
old.
thrown under the jail.
Yeah, as young as 13 years old. Let's be clear on that. This occurred with that he had.
No, I think they were talking about one case. He was trying to encourage you as young as 9.
Yeah, I know the 13 happened is what it
Yes.
said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
right. Yeah, the 13,
yeah,
the one with the 13-year-old actually happened. That is just
yeah.
sick.
Yeah, that's so. Listen, I'm just. I hope he meets a nice about a 5'3" guillotine walking through the street. I hope he meets it. So
Yeah,
that's
that
where
sounds
it
like
should
a
go.
plan.
Yep.
How about it? Let's switch to a brighter note. And now, Mike, you were the one who called this one, and it's funny because I think you were just like what a weekend ahead of your time. You're a man ahead of your time. Unfortunately, it's only a weekend. But you were the one who originally brought up the idea of a DeSantis Donald Trump ticket. So I thought maybe
Yeah,
you'd
listen,
want
I've been calling this about 6 months, and I even understand how this is going to work. Remember, President Trump former President Trump, really wants to be current president again. And you and I think we got into a disagreement about this last week because of he wants to prove that he can flat out win an election when fraud is not involved. And sorry, the camera's on me right now, so I'm going to keep talking. There was fraud. There was all kinds of fraud. It's been proven there was fraud. Whether the left-wing media wants to print it or not is something else. But there's too much doubt out there. So President Trump wants to be able to prove that he can win a straight-out election, toe-to-toe, against a candidate when the balance is fair. Let's just say that when everything's above board. Ron DeSantis is an incredible governor, and he would probably make an incredible president as well. If Donald Trump had just been finishing his 8-year term or had decided to run for 4 and not run again, you would not hear about him wanting to run for president. Again, I believe his primary motivation for running is to prove that he can win. And then he wants to continue to great things for the country. All right. But he's got to take care of, he wants to correct the wrong. I guess is how we should say it. He wants to correct the wrong. And what better running mate could he have than DeSantis? Now, they're both in Florida right now, but I'm sorry, but Donald Trump's name is New York. All right.
Right.
Listen, some of the city may not love him, but the rest of the state does. He's New York. He's Queens, Manhattan, his whole life. All right. Just because he happens to be staying at Mar-a-Lago down here because of de Blasio. By the way, guess what, folks? When New York chased out President Trump, guess how much money they gave up for taxes as well. So when you can't figure out why they can't clean your streets of snow this winter because they don't have a damn dime left because de Blasio killed the city after 8 years, maybe you'll get the picture and it's time to change the way you do things up there.
Maybe they will get the picture. Maybe they will get the picture. And by the way,
right. Anyway, so they here's what I said. This is what I've been saying for 6 months. President Trump runs. He makes Ron DeSantis the vice president select. So now you have a northern and a southern on there. You have Trump, DeSantis. So President Trump wins. He gets the things accomplished that he wants. He serves 2 years plus 1 day in office, then resigns, allows DeSantis to be the president for 2 years minus 1 day, which guess what, Craig? Because it's less than half the term, does not apply towards a full term. DeSantis gets to stay. If he wins for 2 more terms, he could be for a president for 10 years minus a day. And I think that's how the Republican Party sets this country up for 10 years of success and growth.
Doesn't sound like a bad idea to me.
The only losers in this whole process is the state of Florida then has to share DeSantis with everybody else instead of keeping him for ourselves.
Sorry, you're going to have to share Captain Florida.
Yep, I know. That's it. He'll be Captain America too then, by the way.
So
Captain
speaking
USA.
of the picture, getting to the picture, let's get into today's parting shot. Jussie Smollett is the gift that just keeps on giving. What is your name for him?
Juicy Smouillet, the famous
Smouillet.
French actor. Juicy Smouillet.
Thank you for that one, Dave Chappelle.
Justice for Juicy.
You know what's bad is that I find myself, like, even when I'm like not joking, calling him Juicy Smouillet now.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm like,
Juicy, the famous
Jussie
French actor.
Smollett. Anyway, So there's actually they've actually found some rare actual footage that you can actually see this time of him being of Jesse Smollett being attacked. There it is right there. For those of you who are old enough that have seen, if you have not seen Blazing Saddles, you have to watch Blazing Saddles. Phenomenal Mel Brooks movie that could not be made today.
I don't even know if you can find a copy of it today that hasn't been altered. But if you look at this photo in his right hand, you can see the top of the Subway sandwich bag he's holding.
I don't see a MAGA hat though. That's the only thing that's missing. Right. But then there's another image here, and this is actually so, for those of you who think that that left-wing liberals are the only ones that can be guilty of hate crime hoaxes, here's one. Here's one that has been declared that you may or may not have heard about. It's like, I was jumped by 6 men with man buns. They put skinny jeans around my neck, doused me with soy latte, and said, "This is Biden country." And then they rode off on electric scooters.
And they said, "My butt's been wiped."
My butt's been wiped. Oh, this is too hilarious. He is a running joke, and it is amazing to watch even the left-wing media, many in the left-wing media turn against him. And with the exception of a handful of the BLM extremists, pretty much everyone has acknowledged that dude is a problem, and well, some people are saying, well, he shouldn't do jail time. I'm sorry, he wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars in police effort looking into and investigating this crime. He's taken attention away from real incidents of crime. And all this in an attempt to basically take down a presidential candidate or to take down, at that time, the sitting president. Yeah. I'm sorry, but that deserves jail time. As far as I'm
concerned. The prosecutors said that they're pushing for jail time, for actual jail time, and he could get. I think it was up to 25 years for this. I think it's up to 5 years per count of these felonies he could get. The defense obviously is wanting probation or whatever, but the prosecutor said they want jail time because the entire trial, and he was on the stand for 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
The entire trial, he said, "I didn't do it. It didn't happen." He admitted that this attack. Or he kept saying this attack really occurred. He said there was really a Subway sandwich. There was really, bleach. There was a rope. There were 2 guys with MAGA hats. He continued to say all of that, even though the 2 Nigerians with MAGA hats took the stand and said, "He made me do it. He paid me." So, right. But it's because of his insistence that this crime really occurred that the prosecutors have said he's got to go away.
Right.
There's no remorse here whatsoever. He's still insisting. After testimony and witness statements and evidence, he's still insisting it occurred. He's got to go to jail.
There's absolutely no evidence that anything he said was true. Absolutely not.
It's funny. The former police chief that was police chief when this occurred, he said he had a problem with this, and he immediately knew that this was a tale of lies when the evidence at the scene showed that the Subway sandwich was still 100% intact. So he'd been attacked.
100%. Greg, right? He's like, and then he's like, no. Then there was the fact that, dude, he waited with the noose around his neck for the police to arrive. Now, if you're the subject of a hate crime, I'm sorry, what self-respecting person, let alone black man, would sit there with a noose around his neck waiting for the police to show up? Unless he's, unless he's trying to, unless he's lying. I'm sorry. There's absolutely positively no way.
So he got jumped, he got beat, he got doused with gasoline. They put the noose around his neck.
Bleach, not gasoline.
That's a bleach. But yet the Subway sandwich bag didn't even have dirt on it. It wasn't crushed. It wasn't anything. It was just perfectly,
absolutely nothing.
They are sandwich artists, and it was not a drop of dirt on it. So
exactly, must have been one of those tactical bags.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. And by the way, you ask who would still be there with the noose around their neck. I'll tell you who. You ever seen those people that get into the tiniest little bumper fender bender on the highway, but they leave their cars in the middle of the road for 3 hours until the cops get there?
Yeah, by the time you get there, they've got their own neck brace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the same kind of people. The one that get into the wreck in the middle of the road, and they go, "Oh, look, it's a scratch on my paint." Well, we better leave the cars here till the police get here. Get off the freaking road, you morons! Get off the road.
Get off the
That's
road, you morons. All right, well, hey, it's about that time. How about a shout out to our sponsors?
Hey, Guerrilla Machining, Grid Defense, and the California Public Assembly. It's great to see you.
Folks, please make sure visit our sponsors. They're the ones who help make sure this program goes. So you can help if you enjoy the program. Help us by helping them. Check out their organization. Check out CRA, the organization. Check out the products that are sold by Grid Defense and by Guerrilla Machining. If you like what you see, and I'm pretty sure you'll like what you see, go ahead and make a purchase or go ahead and join. These are the groups that help us keep going. Help us, help them.
Help us, help them, help you, help us.
On that note, we will see you tomorrow on Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos.
See you guys tomorrow.